So now that I look back, I realize how lucky I was. He could have reached in with a knife and slit my throat. He could have pulled a gun out, blew my head off. It could have been really bad, and I was very lucky, again. But I've learned from that mistake, and after that situation happened, I dove into studying awareness skills. There's a moment in life when the world reminds you just how critical situational awareness really is. Mine came in a dark underground garage. I thought I was alert, but I wasn't. What happened next changed the way I see everything, and it might do the same for you. Welcome to Warrior Walk. Let me take you back to my early 20s. I was driving my girlfriend to work, minding my own business, until a road rage incident spiraled into something far more serious. This isn't a story about what I did right. It's what I failed to see, and the lesson it taught me. So this situation takes place in my early 20s. I was driving my girlfriend to work. I was in her car driving her car. And we were driving down one of the most congested roads in the state of Maryland. And as you can imagine, people have short tempers, people tailgate, people jockey for positions, cutting each other off. And anyway, I had this individual tailgating me for several miles. Now, I didn't react to that, which is really remarkable for someone in his early 20s, because most people react at that age quite aggressively, but I didn't. And he kept tailgating me for several miles longer, and then finally we get to a light where he pulls up to the side. He rolls down his window and he starts yelling expletives at me, all kinds of things. I rolled down the window and I asked him what his problem was. Hey, we're about to get back into the video, but let me ask you something. Do you want to legitimately accelerate your self-defense skills? And are you sick of clickbait videos teaching absolute garbage? Or tired of being misled by unqualified wannabe experts who have zero credibility or experience? If the answer is yes, now is the time to join my War Machine memberships. As a member, you're going to get exclusive access to in-depth training videos, exclusive full-feature video content, downloadable training PDFs, and direct insights you're not going to find anywhere else. Plus, you're going to have direct access to me in the comments section of all my videos. So if you have questions, you're going to get real, detailed answers from me and not some random keyboard warrior. So if you're serious about mastering real-world combat skills, hit the join button below and start training like a true war machine. Now, let's get back to the lesson. So his argument was that I wasn't driving fast enough. Now here's the thing, it's traffic. There's nowhere for anybody to go, but he was just frustrated and he wanted to project it on me. So I looked at him like he was an idiot and I basically rolled up the window. So the light turned green and there was no traffic ahead of us. And I just said, you know what, the hell with it. I punched it. Now this car I was driving was a 1990 Corvette. It was a ZR1. And that was super fast for a car at that time. And both of us thought it was hysterical. He wants me to go fast, I'll go fast. And I completely blew past him. I mean, he was nowhere to be seen in the rearview mirror anymore. So in order to drop her off, she was a bartender who worked in a hotel. So I had to go into the underground garage. And when I did, you know how they had that barrier gate where you have to push for the ticket? Well, I pulled up to the barrier gate, I rolled down the window, I reached over to push the ticket, and all of a sudden, someone grabs my forearm and starts shaking it and starts yelling aggressively. It's the guy. He's been following me the entire time, and I was oblivious to it. So I don't know if you guys know about Corvettes. I've actually owned several in my life. Great cars, by the way. It's like being in a cockpit of a plane. There's no room, there's no leverage. So I only knew the one thing to do is to hit. So I planted my right foot deep into the floorboard and I tried to twist and torque, and I threw my right hand straight into his nose. And I'll never forget, I felt and heard the crack. And I remember the blood immediately went everywhere. So anyway, he flew back, fell. I think he did fall on the floor. I remember that. I tried to get out of the vehicle, but there was a concrete barrier, so I couldn't open the door. Now, my girlfriend at the time, she was pretty smart. She was very street smart. So she immediately opened her door, jumped out, and then I got out of the vehicle. I went around and he was gone. He fled the situation. Now, the problem with what happened was that the barrier gate for some reason would not open up. Maybe the sensors were flipped. I don't know what happened. Maybe they're just, I guess maybe I waited too long in that position, but the gate would not come up. I couldn't back out either because his car was still behind us. And it was his driver's door was open. I remember the car was still running. So we were stuck. I don't know, maybe 5 to 10 minutes later, I hear the sirens. He called the paramedics and the police. They showed up at the scene. The paramedics were treating him. It was 2 cops. They interviewed me and her, and they wanted to know what happened. I told them, and they agreed. It was clearly a self-defense situation. And they asked me if I wanted to press charges against him. And I said no, because I looked at his face and I could see his nose was completely misaligned. I knew I broke it. So I told the cop, I said, no, I think a broken nose is a good enough punishment for him. And that was it. The situation was over. And that's what motivated me to write my book, When Seconds Count. Now, that book came out 3 years later after the incident, because I've learned you can punch and kick and ground fight and do all your martial arts skills, but if you lack awareness skills, it does you no good. I was very lucky because it could have been much worse. He could have reached over with a knife and slit my throat. He could have pulled a gun out, blew my head off. He could have done a lot of really horrible, terrible things. I was lucky that I was in the position that I was to fight back. But again, it could have played out differently. So that motivated me to really study the concept and the art, it's an art form, of awareness. How being aware can really reduce your chances of being victimized in a situation. Now, for you guys, a lot of you guys know I'm very analytical. You can tell by how I write, how I respond to comments. I always break things down to their atomic part. And in contemporary fighting arts, and when it comes to awareness, I broke it down to 3 types. We have criminal awareness, situational awareness, and self-awareness. Now, I'm not going to give you lectures on all 3, but I just want to let you know that there's much more to awareness than just being aware of your environment. There's so much more, and that book really tackles those different concepts. So you guys should take some time and read about it, because it'll really do you some good, and it'll really reduce your chances of possibly being victimized. Situational awareness isn't just some buzzword. It's what separates prevention from reaction. And in a real fight, reaction is usually too late. Miss the signs and you might not get a second chance. Walk in peace, but be prepared for war.